Most people who move to a coastal barrier island first visit it as vacationers. That strategy led me to buy a property on the wrong island in the wrong season and for the wrong reasons. I've been living in Emerald Isle full-time since 2016. Here's what I got wrong first and what finally got it right. I grew up in New Jersey. Our beach was Seaside Heights. If you've been there, you know what I mean. You couldn't get to the water without stepping over a dozen blankets. It was crowded, it was loud, and it smelled like coconut. But it was the only beach I knew. When I was an undergraduate at Duke University, I discovered that the marine biology department had a facility down in Beaufort. Students in that program would occasionally come up to the main campus for a concert or a football or basketball game, and they needed somewhere to stay. The department secretary would ask main campus students if anyone wanted a free weekend at the coast in exchange for housing. I signed up immediately. After several of those trips, we found Emerald Isle. Wide beaches, not a blanket in sight, smelled briny and sharp, nothing like the Jersey Shore. Somewhere in the back of my brain, a thought formed that I didn't act on for decades. It was, you're going to retire here one day. Thankfully, I married a woman who loved the beach as much as I did. We vacationed in Emerald Isle regularly at all times of the year. We brought our children here. It became the place our family kept coming back to. Right after Hurricanes Bertha and Fran hit the Carolina coast in 1996, my wife looked at me and said, "Find me a beach house." So in January of 1997, we drove down to Emerald Isle with a copy of Orren Pilkey's book, The North Carolina Shore and Its Barrier Islands. If you haven't read it, the basic premise is this: if you're foolish enough to live at the coast, here's where to do it. We used his detailed maps to identify properties for sale in Emerald Isle and Pine Knoll Shores. We found two homes we liked, one in Emerald Isle and one in Pine Knoll Shores. We leaned toward Pine Knoll Shores, but when we sat down to write the offer, my wife started asking practical questions. Where do you get groceries? Where do you go out to eat? And we surprised our agent by switching to the home in the middle section of Emerald Isle. Best decision we ever made. I've told that story in my East, Middle, and West video. The part of the island you choose matters more than most buyers realize. We made the permanent move to Emerald Isle in October 2016. I thought I knew this town. After all the weekends and vacations, I figured I had a good feel for the place. I was wrong about one thing immediately. When I started walking the neighborhood, people would wave at me. I didn't wave back. I was from somewhere else where you don't wave at strangers. One day, a man actually stopped me and asked, "Is anything wrong?" I said, "No." Well, he said, "Our town motto is nice matters. Start waving." Now when I walk this town, I feel like I'm running for mayor. I wave at everyone. That exchange, a stranger stopping me to tell me I wasn't doing it right, told me more about what kind of place Emerald Isle is than anything I observed as a vacationer. You don't know a place until you live in it. That's the whole point of this channel. At my first physical after moving here full-time, my physician looked at my numbers. He compared them with those that my prior physician had referred over. All of my lab numbers were at or below normal. My blood pressure, 116/70. I had lost 20 pounds. He asked what I was doing differently. I told him, I'm living in Emerald Isle full-time. I'm not telling you this to sell you on a lifestyle. I'm telling you because it was real and it was unexpected. I thought I was making a real estate decision. It turned out I was making a health decision, a daily life decision, a decision about what the next chapter of my life looks like. Most of the buyers I work with are making that same decision. They just don't always frame it that way. They're focused on price per square foot and flood zones and HOA fees. All that matters, but underneath it is a bigger question. What do you want your daily life to look and feel like? Emerald Isle answered that question for me. This channel exists because I want to help you answer it for yourself. At this point, most buyers realize there are more moving parts to this decision than they expected. Everything I learned from my own move and from helping buyers make this move every day for the past decade is in my relocation guide that I put together that walks through how to think about these decisions, what to look for, what actually matters, and where people tend to get it wrong. None of it is theory. It's what I've lived, what I've watched clients navigate, and what I wish someone had handed me before I made my first offer on a coastal property in 1997. If you want that, text the word guide to 919-308-2292 and I'll send it to you. Let's keep going. After nearly 10 years of living here and helping buyers relocate, I can tell you that the ones who are happiest 5 years after the move share a few things in common. First, they ran the February test before they fell in love with a property. They built the full cost of ownership into their budget before they made an offer, not just the mortgage, but insurance, maintenance, and everything that comes with a coastal home. They chose the right part of the island for their daily life, not just for a vacation. They did the inspection work correctly and used coastal experienced inspectors. And they understood their financing before they were under contract, not after. Every one of those topics has its own video on this channel. The insurance video, the inspection video, the East, Middle, and West video, the financing video, the rental income video, the HOA video. Watch them in order and you'll arrive at your purchase decision better prepared than 90% of the buyers I meet. And if you want a shortcut for that process, if you want to have the conversation directly instead of watching 6 videos, use the link below to get on my calendar. That conversation is free. It takes 30 minutes, and it will tell you whether Emerald Isle is the right move for you right now or whether there's homework to do first. And now for my Denis Fit Test. Here's what I know after almost 10 years of living here full time. This place is not for everyone. It's a barrier island, 12 miles long. It gets quiet in February in ways that surprise people who only visit in July. The cost of ownership is real and it's higher than most buyers expect. The maintenance demands of a coastal home are ongoing. The drive to certain services requires planning. And for the right person, none of that matters. For the right person, the wide beach and the friendly neighbors and the blood pressure numbers and the sense that you are finally living where you've always wanted to live, all of that outweighs every practical consideration on that list. I am that person. I know it because I've lived it, and I've watched enough buyers make the move successfully to know what the right person looks like. If you've watched this entire video, there's a reasonable chance that you're that person too. The question is whether you have the right information to make the move confidently or whether you're still filling in the gaps. That's what I'm here for. I want to hear your story. How did you find Emerald Isle? Was it a vacation, a recommendation, something you stumbled across? And where are you in the process right now? Drop it in the comments. I read every one and I respond to each one personally. And if you found this helpful and you're serious about buying or living in Emerald Isle or anywhere along the North Carolina coast, I have a valuable resource for you. Text the word free to 919-308-2292 and I'll send you my book, Live Where You Vacation. It's a deep dive into what it's like actually to live here. Subscribe to my channel to join a small but growing group of people who value clarity over hype. And check out this next video on how Emerald Isle is divided into 3 parts. I'll see you there.